So let us look at this weird formula, and it looks slightly weird, but I'll explain you the meaning of every term. So we'll go term by term and what that means basically. So this is the general form of addition theorem of probability. So what we saw before was when you had only A1 and A2. If you only have A1 and A2, the formula that you use was the one before. But that is also a subset of this formula. This formula is the general formula of addition of any number of events. So if you have some n events here, this is the formula that you use to carry out the addition theorem, right? So you have A1 union A2 union A, so on up to An. So the first term, basically what you do is you take up the probability of individual events. So all individual events, you sum them up, right? So a probability of A1 plus probability of A2 plus probability of A3, you sum them up. Then you'll put a minus sign, right? Because you started with the plus, you'll put a minus sign, and then what you will do is you'll take P of AI intersection AJ. That means now you will take them two at a time. And why am I writing this I minus j? Because for instance, if you have three, so basically if you do probability of A1 intersection A2, you shouldn't do probability of A2 intersection A1 again, right? To eliminate this, to avoid this repetition, we have used this I minus j, because if this I is equal to 1 and j is equals to 2, then this I is equal to 2 and j is equal to 1 case will be avoided when we put this constraint. So that way we will be able to avoid repetition. So once this case will be taken, this will be avoided automatically. That will be taken care of by this particular condition here. So you'll take them two at a time. So no matter how many elements are there, if there are n elements, then you'll have nc2 terms here, right? You'll have nc2 terms here in this particular part. Now we will take them three at a time. So now you had a minus. So remember, we are going alternate. This is plus, you have a minus, you'll have a plus now, right? And now you'll take them three at a time. And how are we avoiding repetition? How are we making sure that once we take P of A1 intersection A2 intersection A3, we shouldn't take A2 intersection A1 intersection A3 or anything else, A2 intersection A3 intersection A1. Like all these should be avoided. Only once it should be taken, right? So I hope you understand the fact that if I have three elements like this will be a P of this part will be P of, this is ABC. This will be A intersection B intersection C. Now this itself is A intersection B intersection C. You can also call it B intersection A intersection C, right? You can also call it A intersection C intersection B. It doesn't matter. All this, all three are the same. So that is the reason why whether I take P of this or P of this or P of this, all three will be same. So that's the reason why we need to avoid the repetition. So for that we will use this constraint. So likewise we will go. And then next we will take them 4 at a time. Next we will take them 5 at a time. Finally, when we take them all at once, there the coefficient will be minus 1 power n minus 1, right? So I hope you are following what's happening here with the sign. You're starting with a plus, then you're having a minus, then you're having a plus again, then you're having a minus again, and you keep going. And your final sign is decided by this, and your final term is when you take them all at a time. This formula is actually coming from a concept called in permutation and combination called inclusion and exclusion. So we're not going into the depth of what inclusion and exclusion is. So that particular concept is actually used to derive this formula. So you don't need to actually derive it, you just need to remember it. In fact, remembering this also is not very difficult, because it's not going to happen in exam that they'll give you 10 particular cases and then they'll ask you, because even they know that you won't be able to do, right? At max they might just give you 3 cases. So you should know how this formula works, what the pattern is, right? Remember the pattern of the formula. Remember this plus, minus, plus, like the alternate signs. Remember taking them once at a time, and then taking them 2 at a time, then taking them 3 at a time, and finally taking them all at a time, right? So remember the way this formula is actually written, and then you'll be able to solve any problem which actually comes in this particular section. So they won't give really complicated formulas because it gets lengthy. That is the reason why with this, I guess we are done. I hope you have understood the way the formula is written. Let's move on to the next subtopic.